Well, I have not recorded a video in a very long time for the Stellar Strength Barbell channel. If I'm being honest, like 2025, there's been a lot of stuff going on. I decided to try to put more focus into my actual business, which is my gym, Upreach CrossFit. I also am pursuing a new coaching certification education called Functional Diagnostic Nutrition Practitioner. It allows me to facilitate functional labs like a GI map, like liver detox pathway, stress hormone pathway, like all those functional labs that are out there. I'll be able to facilitate those and then interpret those labs and give people coaching through that. It's taken up a lot of my time. Through that course, I did my own testing and found that I have a lot of fucked up shit. My stress hormone pathway is completely shot. I have like the testosterone of a woman, even less than a woman of my age, all kinds of stuff. And so I needed to change my training up. So for the past 3 months almost, I've done nothing but like bodybuilding, low intensity, steady state cardio. I've only been working out like 3 times a week. And also then just been spending a lot of time focusing on my business and focusing on, that coaching education. It's a really intensive program, a lot of biochemistry, just a lot of anatomy and physiology, which some of that's review for me from exercise phys degree, but nonetheless, it's kind of why I haven't been doing much with the Stellar Strength Barbell stuff. Also, just focusing on my athletes. Noah, who you guys will see on this channel, the teen athlete, we're heading off to nationals this week. So when you guys see this video, nationals will already have happened. Hopefully he killed it, but we're heading off to nationals this week, and he lifts on Wednesday, June 25th, in the 88 kilo category, 87, whatever it is now. Yeah, 88. Used to be 89. It's 88 now. And junior, he's 19. So I think his session is the C session, C or the D session, I don't know. But his first time at one of these stages, so he didn't even lift at like AO2 or the North American Open or anything like that. So this will be a cool little, test for him, see where he's at with this kind of stuff at a national level. He's a great lifter. He's always lifting in the CrossFit gym. So many cool people out here with their cool cars. So we'll see. I'm looking for my tape. How he does. I'm really proud of him for making it this far. He's been on this track since he was 13 years old, and this was the goal. Was nationals, was high level competing in weightlifting, and 5-6 years later, here he is. So it's really cool. As far as me, I'm getting back into weightlifting for myself, training wise. I've actually written a kind of reintroduction to weightlifting program that I'm running through. I'm on week 3 of it. Again, by the time you guys see this video, it will be out. If you are a CrossFitter who is looking to add in more weightlifting to your program, but you don't want it to overtake your CrossFit programming, this is a great program. It's 3 days a week. It's an hour and 15 at most. It's like 3 or 4 main movements. If you're a weightlifter that just got done with a competition, or maybe you did some GPP and you want to get back into weightlifting in a smart way, this is a great ramp up program. It's just 4 weeks. It's just a 1 month kind of ramp you back up, 3 days a week, work your overhead position, work some mobility stuff, work some jerk stability, dip and drive mechanics, work some extension stuff, just the basics. That way, when you get back into a normal full cycle, you'll feel really good. You'll feel like you built back up in a smart way. You took care of the basics. And so if you're any one of those people, really straightforward, basic, simple program that's really good to transition you on. I feel I'm on week 3 of it. I feel really good. And so, yeah, the link for that is in the bio if you want to go, or the about, whatever. And you can go download that and, yeah, give it a run. So we're going to get into training, starting off with some behind the neck snatch grip push press. One of the things I was thinking about when I was going to get back into my training for weightlifting was I knew I wanted to ramp it up in a smart way, but I also knew I had this opportunity to kind of go back to some of the basics, work on my biggest faults or my biggest issues A lot of that is like my overhead position stability. It is for a lot of people, like mobility in their T-spine, stability overhead, confidence overhead. And my pulling power is great. My legs are strong. But my catch position, my snatch is wonky, and it really comes from my lack of mobility. So a lot of this cycle, if you guys are like interested more about it, when it comes to snatch stuff, is working that, both from a mobility perspective, from a strength perspective, like the snatch grip push press. Just on the push press, focusing on fast, explosive elbows, getting a good lockout position, holding overhead. You know, finding a nice good shrug with it. Right? And again, we're just rebuilding. So nothing in this cycle goes over like 80, 85%. And I'm using a training max for all my stuff. So I'm not using my all-time best necessarily on my snatch or my clean, my jerk, my squats, because again, I took almost 3 months off completely of this stuff. And, you know, if I was using my best ever, that wouldn't be really realistic. And you run the risk of injuring yourself when you're coming back into weightlifting. If you took time off from an injury, or even if, again, you went through like a GPP phase as a weightlifter, you haven't been doing a lot of heavy lifting, if you go right back in, that's where like people start to get knee issues, you know, tendon issues, etc., because they haven't progressively overloaded. They went from doing not a lot of load to right into week one of a new program using their best ever maxes. It's just not smart. That's fucked me up in the past. So, you know, this is my first working weight here, 155. Kind of a big jump, but feel good. Feel good. All right. Feel solid. Shoulders feel strong. One of the things too I'm thinking about getting back into weightlifting is, and this is a bigger topic with me in my life, is I get into things and I can get burned out on them, and that's mainly because of the pressure I put on myself to all of a sudden get good at something again, or like I've competed in weightlifting. I am now a coach. It is not my main thing to try to be an athlete in weightlifting, but I'll do this thing where like, I'm like, it sounds fun to get back into it, see what I can do. And the first like month or two, everything's fine, but then the grind, the like, is this worth it? Am I having fun? Isn't there. And then it's kind of like, I just get burned out. And instead of just enjoying the process, which is so cliche, but it is so true, of just doing the training or playing guitar, like whatever my thing is, I get caught up in the external or like the goal. And that's not what these hobbies for me are about anymore, or they shouldn't be, right? The main things I have goals in this life are for my career, my business, my relationship, I guess you could say. But when it comes to working out and stuff, I'm just getting back into it because it's fun. And like, I don't have goals. I'm just going through the motions to have fun with it and to relearn and to just stay attuned to weightlifting, since I am a weightlifting coach. So yeah. Oh, here we go. Nice. 175 there. All right, feeling good. Part of me wants to go to like 200 pounds. I think that might be dumb. I'll probably go 190. All right, 190. Another thing on this cycle, working a lot on, as well as the overhead stuff, is making sure that you're focusing on verticality It's a big thing for me as a coach, especially like in a CrossFit gym. Everybody is so front to back in a CrossFit gym, very humpy. They like to hump barbells, me included. I've broken that habit a while ago, but we want to reinforce this idea of vertical extension. And so again, if you're doing a reintroduction phase or kind of a bring it back to the basics phase, I think some of the mechanical drills should be about reinforcing vertical extension. So first 2 weeks, we're doing actually block high pulls. Purpose of that is high blocks. We're just focusing that last little bit of extension. A big thing is not only getting vertical, but then where is the weight in your feet? One of the most common mistakes I see is that people start to drift too far back on their heels, and then as they extend, they're extending backwards and they jump back. Or subconsciously, their body starts to feel that, and then right as they hit extension, they rock back to their toes and they jump forward. So the pulls from the blocks, the whole point there was to keep the weight in the middle of the foot and not feel like you're drifting front to back at all, but you're driving straight up and down through the foot. The last 2 weeks of it, we work into a hang snatch high pull. So now there's a little bit more dynamic movement with it. You still have to focus on where you're at. So making sure that we get that vertical extension, but we stay balanced on the midfoot. If we take away the blocks, now we gotta make sure we get a good hang position. So this is also something to talk about. Hang position, we wanna make sure that when we come down, we don't just bend over, but we also bend the knees. So I'm here, as opposed to this like aggressive, just hinged position. Here, find that midfoot, high pull. High pull. High pull. All right, that first one I got a little arm aggressive, but that's what we're looking for, okay? Oh, is that 155? Yeah, felt pretty good. I can go up. In the grand scheme of things, nothing here is too heavy on this cycle. 155 high pull, 170 high pull. Granted, it's from the hang. That's nothing fancy, nothing hard, especially when it comes to mechanical drills. As a coach, I believe that like most of the mechanical drills should be done 80% or below, because it's like golf, in my opinion. You're trying to get feels. It's funny as it is, I correlate golf to weightlifting a lot, because golf, it's all about what you feel, not necessarily how it looks. And sometimes how it feels can be incorrect, right? When you do something so dynamic, like a golf swing or a weightlifting movement, you gotta break it down into two component parts, and you gotta build up the right feels. So what does it actually feel like to extend vertically? What does it actually feel like to feel pressure in the feet? What's it feel like to get the bar to the hip before you extend? Like, what are the correct feelings, and what are the feelings we actually wanna get away from? If you go too heavy on some of those drills, you're never gonna build the right feels. And then you're going to continually have the same technical issues, because you're always working with a weight range where you're not able to really kind of build that proprioception, right? This is where like ego lifting is a thing. Really high level weightlifters is not a problem. They understand that like, hey, 45% and doing drop snatches is great. Snatch pull unders, right? But a lot of people, it's just coming to the gym, just try to build to a heavy snatch, or build to a heavy clean and jerk or whatever, and they're not doing a lot of technical drills. And I just find that to be a big issue for a lot of people, because a lot of people, once they get good at weightlifting, the thing that holds them back is their technique more so than anything. All right, so hard part about being the owner of a gym, being the head coach, is that sometimes when I'm lifting, people want to come in and start talking to me. That's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. But that's what started happening. And so I just decided I would talk over the rest of my session, because I had some people in the gym, and I feel awkward like recording in front of people still and like talking to a camera. So I just figured I would talk over the rest of this session. So again, we have the high pulls. I think I went up to like 170, like I said. So again, focusing on staying balanced over the foot, focusing on a good hinge position. I really aggressively drive my knees out. Some coaches do that like that, some don't. But anyways, after the high pulls, those are kind of the primers. So on this program, there's primer lifts. So like push press, high pulls, and then you go into the main lift. So we have hang snatches here. Not too bad. I'm also, you see, wearing the Lose, thanks to Michael. Again, you guys have seen him on this channel, one of my lifters. These were too big for him. I did not like the tiers, and so I wanted to switch. And so he's letting me borrow his Lose, and I'm going to buy them off of him. So we got into some hang snatches plus overhead squatting here. So this is 165 right here. Again, this is week 3, so I'm just getting back to used to getting under the bar. Overhead position, I will say I love the way the shoes feels. My overhead position honestly looks pretty good. So it's just, 3 weeks back into weightlifting, just getting used to having the bar over my head is a big deal. And getting used to that bottom position is really, really big. I like the way my positions look. I'm working on my overhead mobility a lot, like I said, on this program. So I think 165 again here. Solid hang. That was a good one. Feet, solid landing position, good turnover. Again, getting comfortable in the bottom position. 2 overhead squats. Like where my feet are landing. Again, if you guys have seen some of my older videos, my feet were doing weird things when I was wearing the tiers. They're not now. Shoes aren't everything, but they can make a big difference. So I'm going back to feeling comfortable now. 170 here. Boom. Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Again, timing takes a while to build timing back up. How fast to get the arms locked out when the feet are hitting, all that kind of stuff. But I'm liking how everything's feeling and how everything is going here. And I think I have one more here, another 170. I didn't film my front squats in this session. This is already like a 16-minute video anyway, so it's probably a good thing. So, boom. Again, this program is in the description. 4 weeks. If you're interested in it, go ahead, hit it up. Reintroduction to weightlifting. And we're back on the vlog scene, y'all. There we go.